according to the multiverse theory.
I'm not sure you actually know what multiverse means.
That every choice we make spins out a different timeline into the cosmos, and right now, there are infinite parallel universes. But I am proof that you can move between them.
Or you are proof that we are in one timeline in a loop. An infinite, intractable, unchangeable loop.
But if we succeed in ridding the planet of Gravitonium, then we break that loop and prevent the Earth's destruction.
Which is great, because that definitely won't affect me at all. Look, it's not like I'm just gonna blink out of existence. I lived in one timeline, but now I live in this new one, and I think I'm gonna stay in the one with the sun and tacos and all that, because that's the multiverse, that's science.
Or you're a canary in a coal mine.
I don't know what either of those things are.
We won't know if we're successful at changing the future unless you blink out of existence.
Fitz.
So I know I've promised that this video is gonna be about Graviton, the chances of Graviton coming back on Season 6, is he alive, is he not, all those questions, what's gonna happen with Talbot come Season 6. Now there are a lot of scenarios and a lot of possibilities this could go, so I'm pretty much analyzing it still and building scenarios, mapping it all in my head and on paper, trying to realize what is possible over here and what is not, and trying not to ignore any single possibility. So I'm gonna be coming back with all those scenarios on a separate video later on, so I guess I've overpromised, promising to deliver that video first. I'm gonna be delivered soon enough though. Instead, I'm gonna be talking about Deke on this video, what's going on with Deke, what happened to Deke at the end of Season 5. Are we gonna see him once again on Season 6? Now this video, just like the Graviton one, just like the Daisy Centipede one, and just like the Fitzicle one, all go towards answering all those Q&A questions that I got on my community post that I posted a week ago. So in the spirit of not wasting any more time, and without further ado, welcome back guys, and let's go. Now to talk about Deke is to talk about the circumstances in which he was born. Everything is changed as of now because the timeline has completely changed. As a matter of fact, we're either dealing with a single timeline being overwritten, or we're dealing with a multiverse. Now that has actually been made clear on Season 5. If we do subscribe to the multiverse theory, as Deke does state, he's gonna still exist. That's what he tells Fitz even. Simply put, the Deke that would exist in this case would not be one of our timeline, of the new timeline, but rather part of the old timeline. An anomaly existing in this new timeline, let's call him a timeline hopper. Whether or not a new Deke would exist in this new timeline, given all the changed circumstances, and even if Simmons were to be pregnant, and even if Fitz and Gemma have the very same daughter that they had in the previous timeline, that's a completely different story. That's all dependent on how the future goes. I mean, there is a multitude of possibilities. This new kid is gonna grow in a different world. This new kid of Fitz and Gemma's might actually end up subscribing to the idea that she doesn't want to have kids, that having kids is not for her. I mean, she is going to be raised in a totally different world, a completely different world. But even if we do not assume that all of these are possibilities, changes to character, changes to opinions based on the different environment that she gets to grow in, we cannot miss the one determining factor, the fact that she grew in the lighthouse, a very confined environment. And what are the core characteristics of this environment? 1, it's a bunker. 2, it has a very limited population. 3, everyone knows everyone. And 4, it provides for a limited number of people that she could basically choose and pick from. And the chances that she could choose that one person, the Shaw person, the father of Deke, to get married to and have Deke, or to cohabitate with in general and have Deke at the end of the day, are very, very high in this case. But then when you look at this new situation in which she's going to be raised in a totally different world, in this different world are going to have totally different options. She's going to go to school, she's going to have a high school sweetheart, she's gonna go to a university, she's gonna fall in love and out of love over and over again, probably more than she ever did in the lighthouse, and she's generally gonna have a lot of options to choose from, not just when it comes to who she gets married to or ends up with, but also when it comes to everything. Her education, for example. Another example would be oranges, when to get them and when not to, because in this version of her life, they are not gonna be any longer a rare commodity. So the chances of Deke being the grandson-to-be of Fitz and Gemma's in this new timeline are kind of extremely limited when compared to the lighthouse version, the old version of the timeline. Accordingly, the multiverse theory can work in one way or in both ways. We can have two versions of Deke, one living his life in the future, and the other one that we have in present day is just a timeline hopper from the other timeline, the first timeline. But with a single overwritten timeline though, there is the chance that we're never gonna have a Deke anymore. I mean, like I said, circumstances change, everything changes accordingly, and Deke is never born. And let us be honest for a moment here, if we do get a Fitz and Gemma grandson being Deke in this new timeline, it is gonna be kind of very convenient. I know that just like the case was with Fitz, people who did like Deke are gonna argue with me that he's gotta be Fitz and Simmons' grandson in all cases because Deke was amazing, and because this time around I don't understand genetics or statistics or probability, the latter two by the way, being part of my day-to-day job. Genetics and reproduction though are not really my fields, but I do understand that there's a sperm, there's an egg. If the sperm changes or the egg changes, the product actually changes. However though, here's what I think of the return of Deke. Now on the finale of the season, we did see Deke have that conversation with Daisy. He's leaving the lighthouse. But in the meanwhile and during that scene as well, he's got all those boxes hoarded in his room, trying to make sure that in the future he has all what he needs, including books and all of that good stuff.
This is my room. Like a squirrel hoarding anything I can find. Also, side note, found a nature book. Learned about squirrels.
Old habits die hard.
It's more like I'm a damaged person. From a damaged world. If there's even a chance that can happen again.
You'd want to see the world before it does.
I mean, besides, according to Fitz, if the world doesn't crack open and you break the time loop, I'll just blink out of existence anyway. So it's just one more vacancy, right? Come on, I never totally fit in with the gang anyway.
Is that what we are?
At the very end of the episode though, Gemma goes to that room, picks up Fitz's knife, but there are no boxes no more. Now in a manner of speaking, what I believe they did over there is they kind of gave us closure, but at the very same time they left the door open a little bit in order to be able to bring Deke back. So say the 5th season ended up being the final season of the series, Jed Whedon is sitting there in an interview and being asked, where did Deke go? I think he would have said, oh, he disappeared because the future has changed. And in that case, pretty much they would have delivered what they were set out to deliver and what they promised they would deliver at the end of the final season of the series, if season 5 were to be the final one, that being closure. But now that they've been renewed for a 6th season, they do have a chance to bring him back. Okay, so pretty much the room was cleaned up because there was no need for that mess anymore. That future is not going to exist anymore, and Deke is not going to need all of this anymore. They could as well end up explaining it with quantum temporal theory, which would be a surprise if they do, because a lot of you don't believe that, and it doesn't really work with the frozen Fitz trope. But it would be funny if they did those kind of retroactive changes. I know a lot of people don't believe in that theory, I know a lot of people don't want to believe in that theory because it means changes to the storyline of Fitz on season 6, so I'm not really going to indulge it over here. But the multiverse theory at this point does explain that Deke might still exist, or how he might still exist, and at the very end of the day, he might exist as the grandson of Fitz and Simmons from that previous timeline, but not the very same person that they would have as a grandson in this new timeline. So he would pretty much become a member of the team, even though not a grandson to this version of Fitz and this version of Gemma, and even though he still carries their genetic material. Now you could start arguing Deke's situation and the points that I've made herein in the comments down below while I start talking about some things that have been confirmed for season 6 and other things that we do know of but are yet to be confirmed. So number 1, I've already uploaded that Daisy Centipede video talking about my speculations as to how those powers are going to work in the future, and my speculation based on this situation, this particular situation where the centipede is not really centipede alone and Jiaying's DNA alone, but rather a mixture of both, is that for so long they've been foreshadowing and working on the amplification of the powers of Daisy. Now according to that, I came to the conclusion that her powers were permanent. Now in a way, Jed Whedon kind of confirmed that the serum does still course through her veins, that she still got those powers. When the question was posed during an interview with EW, he responded, well, she's definitely juiced up in some way, and how much that carries, we'll see. So given that this interview happened post the finale, her being juiced up in some way does mean that she is still juiced up, post the events of the finale. It's not something that's gonna wear off, it's not something that's gonna go away. But as smart as Jed Whedon is over there, he gives himself some leeway in order to be able to play it out, in order to be able to give himself time to determine what those powers are gonna look like. So there is always the chance that she's gonna gain new powers, she's gonna be stronger than before at the very least, but not as strong as she was at that moment when she injected herself with the serum. And they could always easily explain it, I suppose. That was a temporary surge of power the moment she injected herself with the serum, that kinda degraded a little bit until it reached a point where it stabilized. Number 2, the question of Deke was posed, and whether or not he disappeared in the very end, and whether or not they could say anything about Deke during that interview. And the answers of the producers ranged from no, as in no, we cannot say anything, to it's really a mystery, we do not know if he disappeared or not, or pretty much we're not gonna tell you if he disappeared or not. Now those kind of statements do mean that the possibility does exist that they know they're gonna bring him back, they know they're not gonna bring him back, or they're just waiting to ride the story of season 6 and see where that takes them, and whether or not they're going to need Deke as an integral part of set story. Number 3, during the very same interview, they did confirm what they're doing with Cryosleep Fitz. Cryosleep Fitz does exist, and they are bringing him back. And I did confirm that on my first Fitz video that I posted post the finale. Now, with total disregard to my 2 objections, the way they are bringing him back and the fact that they're bringing him back after killing him in such an epic scene, I did know all along that they're bringing him back, and I did announce that, I think, on my first Fitz video post the finale. Now, even if I do object to all of this, let's look at the silver lining. We are probably gonna get Enoch back, and Enoch was just one of the funniest on season 5. I'm pretty excited for the possibility of Enoch making it back on season 6. But that being said, I'm going to be uploading more videos for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. over the next couple of weeks. At some point, I'm going to be uploading a video with everything that's been confirmed so far and everything that's been hinted or rumored. I'm also going to continue working on those Q&A questions until we do get to the point where we have none anymore, and then I could start jumping into more speculation on season 6. So let me know in the comments what you think of Deke, what you think is going to happen to Deke on season 6. Let me know if you think he's going to come back, let me know if you want him to come back, and let me know if you do like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, and if that were to be the case, you could always subscribe and enable notifications for my future videos, community posts, and live streams. Until my next Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video though, thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.